Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when
all right, as always, Dolphins number one, baby!
So fins up to all you guys. Thank you for
I just want everybody to remember, we may not always agree on everything Miami Dolphins, but there's one thing we do agree on, is we are all Dolphin fans. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk Fins Talk. I'm your host, Steve Malloy, and joining me tonight, my co-host, Rob Mosley, a.k.a. Dolphin Thirsty. How you doing, Rob?
I can't complain, man. We're getting closer. September 10th is coming a lot sooner than it was just a couple weeks ago. So I'm looking forward to some real football and seeing who makes the team, who makes the roster, who gets healthy before September 10th. As you and I are going to talk about here in a little while, there's a lot of Dolphins that are banged up a little bit. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they all get better by September 10th. There's no really super long-term ones, so hopefully, we get better. And we already got people in the house already. Hank is in the house.
All right. Good to see you, Hank.
Bobby. What's up? Fins Bobby, up, everyone. And
Ender in the house.
Yeah, there we go.
All right.
So, yeah, hopefully, like I say, September, we'll see. This one's going to just be probably nothing super exciting in Jacksonville. I don't know who we're going to see. They're going to play Trevor Lawrence, supposedly. But, I don't know who we're going to see from the Dolphins. They're always tight-lipped on that, even in preseason. But, hey, we're getting closer. September 10th is here, a couple weeks away after this next week. They got the 2-week gap. Hopefully we all get healthy and get ready to go out there and knock the heck out of the Chargers out there on the West Coast.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, before we get started, as always, remember, we may not always agree everything Miami Dolphins, but there is one thing we can agree on. We are all Dolphins. So folks that are in the chat there, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, your families, your neighbors. We're almost at that 1,000 mark. So don't forget, just like. We'd appreciate it. Also, I want to make mention that the Fins Talk Sports Network is on Spotify now. So you can go to Spotify, and it's free, and you can put in Fins Talk Sports Network, and we will have a replay of all the shows that we have on the Fins Talk Sports Network. So please, everyone, please check that out. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about tonight, Rob. And but before we get started, I'm not going to do that little film tonight that I normally do about the offensive line with Greer and McDaniel. And the reason why is the offensive line, I got to give them kudos. They had a decent game against the Houston. Now they're playing against the Houston defense, but they nevertheless, they had the first team, second team, third team. They had a really good effort against the D line of the Houston Texans. So we won't play that tonight. But I do want to bring up a point, a very important point that I want to make. And it's what Vic Fangio said today in one of the media interviews, and they were talking to him about, of course, defense and stuff like that. And but they asked him about the music that was played at the practice, and he didn't like the music. And they asked him, "Well, what would you play, or what music do you like?" And he said he's a Earth, Wind, and Fire fan, and Howard Melvin in the Blue Notes. And it just so happens, as I was growing up, Earth, Wind, and Fire was my favorite group. And I listened to a lot of Howard Melvin in the Blue Notes. And if anybody's into music like I was back in the day, you know that Teddy Pendergrass evolved out of Howard Melvin and the Blue Notes. So he's on my good side, man. I like him that much more now.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, I know he
Yeah,
gets his choice every so often. He says,
right, right.
McDaniel said he gets his choice. So I
Yeah,
take your word that
absolutely.
those are good groups, my friend. The the
Yeah.
one I've heard of, but the other one that you said, the notes or whatever, I've never heard of them before.
Howard Melvin and the Blue Notes. Yeah, they go
Yeah,
back a little ways, brother. But
yeah,
anyway, I did want to talk a little bit about what he said, and basically, um, uh, they're still looking for a safety spot. They still want to solidify. We're going to talk a little bit about the defense first today, since we didn't the last show we talked more so the offense. But anyway, yeah, so they're still looking for to solidify that safety position. Um, Linebacker is still, you know, David Long is really going to be a dynamic player for us on the defense. We need a little more consistency out of him. He continues to have flash plays, but he needs to be more consistent. Um, Agba on the linebacker position. Um, he's been working linebacker and he's been putting his hands in the dirt as well. So he's been working both positions. His natural position, and plus they played him out of position at linebacker. So that's a good thing that he's playing both positions. I'd like to see him playing more so his hands in the dirt, um, and I think he will. I think once the season starts, I think he's going to be a rotation player playing inside as opposed to playing linebacker. But you never know. Um, the corner spot is still up in the air. I mean, you got Kohu, you've got Eli Apple, who's been playing decent, and he's a veteran, but he's been playing pretty well back there. You got who's that? Who's the other? Oh, Cam Smith. Wanted to bring that up too. Cam Smith was back into practice today, as you brought it up as we were talking before the show.
right.
He is in camp. He wasn't uh, participating as far as he had a red shirt, so he wasn't playing actual 11-on-11s, but he is participating in
I thought it
drills
said
and.
I read that Cam Smith was not in the red jersey today. That he
Oh, he
was
was
in red.
not. Okay, maybe he
Yeah, he was
wasn't. My
not.
bad.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah, he was not. And I
okay,
don't know
so
what the
we'll go
big
with that.
goal.
Yeah,
I don't know
go
what the
ahead.
big goal. Sorry, Captain. Like, what did the big goal? You can tell us in comments what the big goal said. I don't know. I didn't listen to the big goal today. But anyway, go on, Steve. But yeah, so we
Yeah.
you were on talking about Cam Smith and stuff.
Yeah. So Cam Smith, he's still. I don't know if he's going to be the starter day one. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of him, especially if he's healthy. But Eli Apple, Kohu are battling it out, and you still have Igbo back there. Now I know he had some the Texans games. He didn't have a good game. That was one of his. Uh, Heck, it was all around just one of his worst days playing football. He up to that point, he had been pretty consistent in practice, making plays and coming on strong. So I don't. Hopefully, he's not regressing in that respect. Of course, the elephant in the room, Christian Wilkins is still holding in. Rob, let's talk a little bit about Christian Wilkins. What do you think? Do you think he's going to get signed? Do you think he's going to be used to acquire capital or possibly a trade? And we'll get into the Jonathan Taylor thing here as well. But do you think he's going to actually sign with Miami? What's your take?
Um, my take in on Christian Wilkins is I would like to see him sign, but I'm still not 100% sure it's going to get done. But I believe it's going to get done. That they would probably meet somewhere in the middle of what he's hoping and that the Dolphins are wanting, and that the deal will ultimately get done, freeing up a little cap space for this year, creating a log jam for next year. But it seems like both sides seem pretty confident something's going to get done, and let's just hope it does. If not, he's going to in the regular season he's going to go out and play. He's not going to sit out the whole year. But it's just hopefully they can get it done so there's no bad animosity going into the season. Get it done, Miami, and let's get ready for the football season. But
Yeah.
overall, I really don't know. But my gut says something's going to get done.
Yeah, and I got a hint from Fangio that they might be working on something. I mean, hopefully if Fangio wants him, then I think he's gonna stay with us. But anyway, uh, So the defense, we talked a little about the defensive backfield, corners, safeties, linebackers, defensive line. We still don't have anybody in the spot for Roquan. How do you pronounce his first name? Davis.
Oh, Rod. Oh my God, Davis,
Raekwon Davis. There you go. I have a problem with his first name for some reason. But anyway, I'm still not happy with the position he's playing, nose tackle. I really don't think he fits the scheme, especially for what Fangio is wanting out of a nose tackle. Not only is he going to be, rushing the quarterback and that, but he's in occasions he's going to have to be stepping back, from his blocks as opposed to bull rushing his way in and everything. So I don't know if he's going to be a good fit. I know we've got a battle going on between Peely and Twayman, the other two defensive tackles that we have. One, I think they were both undrafted. And free agents, and there's a battle going on between those two for sure. I like Peely.
He's done pretty well so far. I like what I've seen of him too.
Yeah, you know who he reminds me of his play, and I'm not saying he is this person, but he reminds me of the type of play he is. Paul Soliai.
I knew you were going to
Paul
say
Soliai.
that. You're Samoan.
No.
I said, I'm not going to say it, but he's going to say Soliai. But that makes sense.
He does. He's got the same build, and it's the same type of play. He's always moving his legs, driving forward, pushing the defenders back. I like his play a lot. Twayman's a hustler, too. I've seen Twayman make some plays when I was at the Texans game. So I think it's going to be a battle. One of those two is going to win a spot, maybe on the 53-man roster. We'll see. Definitely practice squad. But this game coming up, this week with the Jacksonville Jaguars is going to solidify a lot of positions for the Miami Dolphins on defense and offense. I think we're going to see a lot of guys. They're going to be fighting for positions for a role on this team. So it should be exciting. So we got a lot of battles going on. So the defense, they played pretty well against the Texans. They still didn't get a sack, but I'm not too concerned about that right now at this point. They were applying pressure. They were getting pressure. Trust me, they were getting pressure on Mills and Stroud. So I'd really like to see that. I'd like to see that when but we'll see. We'll see about the defensive line. I still think our defense is lacking some depth on the defensive line, linebacker as well, because one or two linebackers go down, and trust me, some folks are going to get injured. That's just the fact of life in the game of football. And I don't think we got enough depth on that linebacker and defensive line core. What do you think?
Stays healthy. He's an improvement over last year. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, he has the injury history, but so he's been healthy the past few days, and hopefully he goes into the regular season healthy. And I think, like you said, we're okay along the defense, but we're very thin. If people start falling, then we're going to be thin. But that goes with almost any team in the NFL. You can only have depth at so many positions because, especially with all the front end talent the Miami Dolphins have, you pay those guys the big bucks. So the other talent, you're not going to have the big money out there for. But, like you say, some of the undrafted free agents are looking good. Cam Smith, our top pick of this year past draft, is looking solid. A-Chain, before he got hurt, was looking solid. So we had guys that have looked like they may be able to contribute that a lot of us weren't counting on to begin the season. So maybe we have a little better depth than we like. Offensive line is still I know we're getting to that more, but we're more on the defense today. But offensive line is still my biggest concern. Even though they have shown signs of improvement, which is a good thing. So I like that. But it's still, after years of being battered with bad offensive line play in my mind, that's just, I don't count it until we maybe 4 or 5 games into the regular season and we're consistently producing running yards because of our offensive line, consistently protecting Tua, keeping him upright, and no blown assignments, no stupid pre-snap penalties on a regular basis that set you back when yardage is already hard enough to get in the NFL, and then you're jumping off, and doing silly things like that. But there is signs. Him and the people that break down the film a lot better than I do, I leave that to the pros. But they're saying Austin Jackson actually sold out really well. Again, we're keeping in mind we play, it's the Texans, and they maybe don't have the best team, but he did better. And it depends, I guess, the bar that we set for Jackson. Because if you want him to be an all pro, that's probably never going to happen. But if you want him to be average to good, I think that can happen, and that would be good enough for the Dolphins moving forward this year. If he plays well this year, he's probably gone from the Dolphins because we didn't put the 5th-year option on him. And in some team, because tackles are in such demand. So what's probably going to happen is we're going to get one good year out of him. Finally, he's going to bloom. Then some team's going to give him the bank, and we're going to lose Austin Jackson after we finally develop him into a decent guy. So we'll see. On that, though, that's it. My biggest concern is the depth along the offensive line. But they have been playing a little bit better so far. So there's that hope.
Mm-hmm. No, those are good points. Those are good points. And Scotty made a good point as well. And I forgot about Deshaun Hand. Yes, Deshaun Hand has been playing okay. I think he will be a decent depth player on our defense.
He was picked up later. So I think we're okay. We're just not sexy there like some teams. But I think if all those guys, like he said, they're decent, they're good, they can play in the NFL, and basically at the end, that's what we need. So I agree with Scotty there as too. When we go back to linebackers or edge rushers, I would call them. I'm with Scotty. I think Jalen Phillips and Chubb need to be big this year and help get genuine pressure without blitzing guys. Get that pressure. If they can get consistent pressure, then you get a couple of those guys up the middle, because Wilkins creates pressure. He just doesn't get the actual sacks. But if you read like other things about him, and you watch him, he can collapse the pocket a little bit. He just doesn't get the actual sack. But if he can continue to do that, and then you get Sealer helping him up there and whatever, then you get them 15 for 15. Every time Scotty's here, I have to use his trademark 15 for 15. So we have to get those guys. If those guys can both, if Chubb and Phillips can get double-digit sacks, then we know the one name we haven't really heard of much is Malik Reed. He's just been off. I haven't heard much of him.
Well, he had a good practice today. In fact, I think he intercepted. He had an interception today. But he's been pretty quiet in camp. But I think he's doing his job. And I'm not saying he's making any splashes like David Long or anything like that, but he's doing his job.
I'm kind of thinking he might be under the radar guy that puts up good sack numbers.
He might. You never know.
Yeah,
you never know.
We see, because he had his best season when Fangio was the coach in Denver. Malik Reed had his actual best stat season. So, but we'll see. Like I say, my biggest concerns are on the line of the offense more so than the defense, but. And in the edge rushers, I think we could have potential, Scotty. Yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah. I think the defense is pretty well set. I mean, even though we're a little top heavy on the defense, all around actually, not just the defense, but we are top heavy on the defense. If they can stay healthy, like you said, Rob, that's the key. If David Long can stay healthy, if Ogba can stay healthy as a depth piece and a role player on the team. And if Cam Smith he's had 2 or 3 injuries already in camp. And I hope that's not something that's going to, carry over into the regular season. If he can stay healthy, we're going to be pretty good at that position too, I believe. And Ramsey, of course, when he comes back, of course, we can't think of him now because he won't be here, at least for the first. Look, I'm not going to hype anybody on this show tonight. I'm not. I'm going to tell it like it is. I don't think he's going to be back until maybe the 8th or 9th game. Really. He can say all he wants about him going to be back sooner and all that, and that's a great goal to have. And if I was a football player, I would be doing the same thing myself. I'd be saying the same thing. I would be confident. I would be working like hell to get myself back.
We touched on that, Scotty, that he's no longer in the red shirt, that he was out there. But I think
Yeah.
Steve just trying to touch on it. He hopes he stays healthy from this point
Yes.
on.
Yes.
But yes, he was a no. He didn't even have the red shirt. He participated today,
Hmm.
and we're going to see who's going to fill in until Ramsey comes back, and different things like that. So it's going to be
Right.
fun to see. There's a lot
Right.
of competition out there, and they're
Yeah, there
doing,
is. There is.
and they're not afraid of bringing in people, to see if they're worth, they might be an upgrade or not. And Scotty
And
mentioned in
and,
another
and if
show this morning, that the Dolphins may not pick up as many people this year because of the one big cut down date, and it may be harder to find people, but they do have 2 weeks until the regular season starts, so maybe they can bring
I
someone in if there's
I think they will. I think if I was
this is
Chris
a
Garrett.
definitive upgrade among the offensive line,
Hmm.
defensive line, linebacker, cornerback, slot cornerback, something that they think's an upgrade that another team lets go. I could see the Dolphins, trying to make a
Absolutely.
move. Yeah.
Absolutely, no doubt. All right, Rob. So we got the defense covered. And I've said this before. I'm not too. I am concerned on the depth piece of the defense, but as far as our main players and some of our role players, I'm pretty happy, and I think Vic Fangio is going to have this defense cooking. I really do. I think they're going to be a top 10, top 12 defense. I'm not going to, I don't know. We haven't seen any evidence of that yet, but we will when the season starts on September 10th. But I can just say, and it's a gut feeling that I have, I think they will be a top 10, top 12 defense. Maybe,
Well, I
hey,
hope
if
you're
they're
right,
higher,
Steve.
that
I'm
would be
hoping.
great. If they're higher, that's even better. All the
When you
power
start saying it,
to the
I get a
Miami
little
Dolphins.
more optimistic because you're normally thinking that glass half full guy. So to hear you thinking, half empty, to thinking the glass is half full coming from you, I like that. So that's
Well,
good.
like I said, Rob, I call it like I see it, and I see this defense. I was a
I
little, I was a
like
little,
it.
I was a
Like
little
I'm saying, I'm
leery
calling it
in the
like I see it, and I
beginning.
like it
Yeah, I
because
was a
I
little,
like it when you're positive.
yeah, I was a little leery in the beginning. I didn't want to, step out and make a comment if I wasn't sure on what I was seeing. And I'm pretty sure now. I just have this feeling, a gut feeling, they're going to be a top 10, 12, top 12 defense, maybe higher. So I'm not
Well,
really concerned with the defense. I have all the confidence in the world for Vic Fangio, especially since he likes earth, wind, and fire.
yeah, well,
But
there you
anyway,
go. I know that Scotty and you, well, you particularly, Scotty's normally kind of positive like me, but he's thinking it's going to be a top 10 defense. You though, who's like you love to be real talk, Fins talk, you would not just say that if you didn't mean it. So you feel like they're going to be
yeah,
a top 10 defense. So I like that. So
yeah,
let's just see. I'm the
yep.
Dolphin fan that's always positive, but I always fear the worst because it's been over 20 years since we've won a playoff game. So I almost expect the worst. Ender, one of our normal guys, and here on this network and my Dolphins Thirsty network. Ender's a big fan. He's always around. I love it. Same with Scotty. They're both of my, here on the Fins Talk Sports Network, and they also find me on Dolphins Thirsty. So kudos to you guys. But Ender, yeah, I know Steve has that on the agenda. I don't know if he's ready to talk about Jonathan Taylor yet or not, but we will be covering that here in a few minutes. So.
Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk. We're gonna switch over to offense anyway. I'd like to go over the offensive line, which you commented about earlier, but let's
Right.
talk about Jonathan Taylor. Um, I I think I did some sleeping on this, and I've done some thinking, and you know what? What does this Miami Dolphins team need to make us a Super Bowl contender? On what do they need? And I broke it down to they need a top defense. They need a top 5-10 running game. And they're going to need good quarterback play, consistent quarterback play from Tua Tagovailoa. And right now, in my opinion, Mostert, Jeff Wilson do not give us a top 10 running back core. They are good running backs. They're very good running backs. But as you said, with this O-line, I don't think they give us a top 10 running back core. So I think I've had a change of heart on Jonathan Taylor. If you bring Jonathan Taylor, he's just a different breed of a running back. If you bring Jonathan Taylor in this offense, not only is he going to make it a lot easier for Tua or whoever's at quarterback, all right, of course, in this case, it's going to be Tua unless, God forbid, he gets hurt. But whoever's at quarterback, let's say Tua, he's our starting quarterback. He's going to help him out a lot. He's going to help our receivers out a lot. Because right now, a lot of these defenses, what are they doing? They're expecting the pass. They're looking for the pass. They're all set for the pass. Now you switch that role around, and now they got to worry about the running game and the passing game. You've got a Super Bowl contender team. If we're all in and we won a Super Bowl, and I was a Miami Dolphin fan, and I don't usually go with the majority of people, but a lot of the majority of the Dolphin fans want Jonathan Taylor, I'm going to have to stick with him on this one. We need Jonathan Taylor to give us that edge for a Super Bowl contender team, because it's either a Super Bowl contending team right now, or we're just going to be a good playoff team for the next 2 or 3 years. Your choice.
So what would you give up for him, Steve? It's easy to say you want him on the team, but what would you give up? And then not the money part, because they can do money and still give Wilkins. Somehow they're going to need more contracts.
Rob, you made a great comment when we were talking earlier today offline, and you were saying, they're going to have to pay him because he's with the what was it? The business. What was that ordeal he was involved with the running back deal? You remember what that was?
He just wants to be the face of the guy that's bringing respect to the running back position,
right? And
he wants to be paid high, and he wants the other running backs to start getting paid high. So he's not going to come cheap financially. I'm not talking about the contracts, because they can rework some contracts, whatever, and do whatever. Yes, they're in a jam going to next year, but I'm talking about like the team compensation. Like, what are you comfortable with the Dolphins giving up for him?
All right.
Where I do worry about money is the place you can get cheap talent is in the draft. And yes, if the Dolphins do well, they should be drafting at least in the 20s. Hopefully they draft number 32, but it's just a simple fact that, you need those draft picks. We've given them up in the past. Mike McDaniel hasn't even had a first-round pick since he's been the head coach of the Dolphins. So that's the coach's asking price. I do believe that no team would give up. So if they do really want to trade him, I think the asking price would come down to maybe like a number 2 or a couple of 3s or something like that. That's what I think. But that's
on the money
part, not somewhere. I'm just worrying about. I don't want the Dolphins to give up a first-round draft pick.
Well, on the money part. Yeah, he's probably going to demand about $14-15 million for sure. That's what he's going to want. I'm pretty sure. Now, he's young, doesn't have much tread on his legs. He's a young kid. He hasn't even hit the prime of his running back career yet, and he's a top 3, top 4 running back in my opinion. Okay, he's a power runner. He's fast. He runs a 4.3 40. He's shifty. He can catch out of the backfield. He can do everything you want to do out of a running back in a wide zone scheme like a McDaniel offense.
Yeah.
Now, as far as what you give up, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to want they're going to want a second. They're going to want maybe next year, maybe a 3, maybe 2 3s, maybe
future third, because like Scott
future. Or 2 4s. Well, look what did they give CMC? The San Francisco 49ers.
There was multiple picks, but no first-round pick. But it was
yeah. There you go.
But they gave up a lot. They gave up a lot for him. But
so this is my point, though. It's now or never, man. It's if you're all in or you're not. If you're all in, you're gonna get, like you said. You said it earlier today. You said I as long as I get a Super Bowl win, I don't care what happens in the next 2 or 3 years or 5 years
Oh
down the
no,
road.
just like the Rams won the Super Bowl a couple of
So
years
if that's
ago.
what you want, then you get out and you get Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. No,
Period.
I agree on that part from your philosophy, but just from a realistic, it kicks in. And like Scotty said, the Dolphins don't have a third this year as further punishment for the tampering. We still got one more punch in the face, so we don't have him in a third. But if you can give him a second, a third, future third, I do not want to give up a first for him because that's where you build talent if you're drafting right, giving Chris Greer the benefit that he's going to draft right.
Yeah.
And that's where you get the cheaper talent to offset some of the expensive guys that we have coming up, so.
Yeah. Well, I just think, you go all in, and if you want a Super Bowl, that's what you do, man. I mean, unfortunately, we're put in that position. Thank you, Chris Greer. But now, and now you got to sign Wilkins, you got to sign Hunt, you've got to sign Jalen Phillips, you got to sign Waddle, you got to sign Connor Williams. Look, we are going to be in cap hell next year. And guess what? Whether we get Jonathan Taylor or not, we're going to be in cap hell next year.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. That's why I say you just go all in this year because we're not going to have the kind of roster that we have this year next year. We're not, because we are in cap hell. And you get Jonathan Taylor and you got him on your team for 3 years.
Yeah.
So
he says he's been used a lot though. So, and I did see that somewhere else that he's had a lot of carries. Last year he missed some time, but the other years.
Okay, look, you had people all in on Cook. Get Cook. How many freaking carries did he have? And he was an 8-year veteran. But yet we wanted him. Now here's a guy with just 3 years, probably a top 3, top 4 running back. Cook is not a top 3, top 4 running back.
Well, he was top Cook, though.
8 or 10.
Cook did end up getting big money, but there was no
not
draft.
Not really.
He got didn't he get $7 million, which is a lot
7
more
or 8 million. That's not big money, really.
7 or 8. I think it can be 8 something. Like I
a
said,
1-year deal. A 1-year deal, and he's not young. Who knows? He may get injured this year. He's not going to be with the Jets for 3 years. You get a Jonathan Taylor, 24 years old, hasn't even hit his prime yet. You're getting more for your money too.
He said he's a JT fan. Don't be mad, just correcting a fact, meaning that he did get more carries, so he does have some tread off those tires or whatever the same.
He had 192 carries last year, but he got hurt. He played 11 games. I get that. All right. The year before that, how many did he have? 300 and something. And the year before that, how many did he have? 200 and something. So, and he's only got 3 years on the tread. He's got 3, 4, 5, maybe 600 and 700 carries, something like that. As opposed to a Cook that we were willing to give up our life for.
He has 756 carries.
There you go. 756 carries in 3 years. Yeah. But he's got young legs. He's a young man. He's not 28 years old.
I'm in top with you, where I'm be comfortable giving up a first for him. I don't think they would get a first. I don't see them getting a first. I don't think any team's going to say.
No, I wouldn't give up. I wouldn't give up a first for sure. But I'd be willing to give up a second, maybe a fourth, 2 fourths, and maybe send him Jeff Wilson. Why not? They're going to be missing a running back, right?
No.
Send him a Jeff Wilson or a Gaskin. I don't care.
Hey,
get him.
Here, guys, while you're in here, give us a thumbs up. I like to call it fins up, but give us a thumbs up and throw a laser pass if you're new to the channel at that subscribe button and become part of the team here at the Fins Talk Sports Network, because that's the main thing we're here for, just to talk about the Miami Dolphins. And
Scotty,
this network, I should say, they have a lot of stuff they talk about. On my network, I just talk about the Miami Dolphins. They got every topic you want on here, but which is also cool stuff. But Steve, I'm with you to an extent, but I guess I'm just not all in on the draft compensation. And maybe I'm giving Chris Greer too much credit, thinking he's going to make a great draft pick in the 20s, or hopefully, like I said, pick 32. But I'm just a little worried giving up that much for Jonathan Taylor.
I got you.
Now,
especially with
he told me that he's going to stay healthy. He's going to get the Dolphins to the Super Bowl. Then, of course, heck yeah. But none of us have the crystal ball. Because if Chris Burr had a crystal ball, he would have taken Jonathan Taylor in the draft.
Well, I'm not saying he's going to.
Eagle.
I'm not saying he's going to get us to the Super Bowl. I'm just saying he gives us a better chance of getting to the Super Bowl than the position that
good player out there.
Than the position
more good players.
Yeah,
the more good players you have on your team, the better chance you have of.
But that's just think about
that's not
this.
Rocket science, but
yeah, but think about it. Look at that running back. Look at that. We're going to have the best receivers in football, and we'll have the best running back, one of the best running backs in football. And then we got Tua Tagovailoa, who had a real. If you see what he can do, we saw what he can do last year, right?
Yeah.
All he's got to do is get his consistency. And I won't say the bad word, Scotty. I know I saw your comment, and I'm not mad at you, Scotty. I appreciate your comments, and I appreciate you stopping by. You have a lot of good football knowledge, and I appreciate you.
You got to come on our show one day, Scotty. You need to come on our show one day. We would love it.
Absolutely. Hank, what did Hank have to say here? Hank Copen. Hey, nice to have you here, Hank. Okay. I like our running back room too. I do, Hank. If we don't get him, I'm not going to be mad. Because I do like our running back. I think Mostert is a good running back. He's not elite like a Jonathan Taylor. That's the point I'm making. If we don't, I'm not going to be mad. I mean, I wish we would get him. And trust me, Rob knows me. If normally I would probably have said no, but being that we are so close with a roster that we have, and the talent that we have on the defense, and now in the wide receivers, we got to get them, man. That's just my feeling, but. If we don't, I'm not going to be mad.
I'm not going to be mad. But hey, I hope, like you say, man, I'm all in all the time. Every single Dolphin year, even on the tank, everyone was calling it the tank for 2 a year. I wanted the Dolphins to win. Was I wrong? Probably, because if we would have had the first round pick that year, we would have got Joe Burrow, and we wouldn't be talking about all of this. What's the latest on Joe Burrow? I'm very bad at following teams outside of our.
I don't know what the status is on Joe Burrow. I'm sure they're going to be.
Scotty might know.
They're going to be.
But Bobby says go get him, but Bobby, Bobby's a cool guy, and I need some information off him. So I would say next week when I get the information off Bobby about how the heck he got on Spotify. I can't figure it. I've been trying for months. So, but anyway, then I would say Bobby wants everyone, but I won't say it. Oh, did I just say it out loud? But no, Bobby doesn't want anyone, but he did want Cook, kind of. He definitely wants Taylor. The minute that rumor broke when they were doing their Saturday morning show, he was already super happy just to hear the rumor out there. But like I say, just depends, man, what the compensation is and greed.
Well, no, you know what it depends on.
Until Greer changes his personality. Greer doesn't like using high draft picks on a running back. He doesn't like paying running backs money.
Mm-hmm.
And, to me, it's just that's where the whole reason I just doubt it, unless he just has a total, 180 and changes course and, says, okay.
Maybe Steve Ross changes his mind. Say, I want a Super Bowl now. Go out and get him. I'll give you the money out of my pocket. But we'll see.
It's not a question about money. I mean, if there was no salary cap, if it was just baseball,
I know it's the draft. It's the draft compensation.
Please, he would be spending the Dodgers and all these teams been the Mets and the Padres that blew up in their face, but they went out there and spent the money. Ross would be spending. Please, if it's just the money, it would be nothing. But unfortunately, there's a cap, and you do got to pay Wilkins. You got to pay Waddle down the road, and you're going to have to pay 15 for 15. If Phillips gets 15 sacks, you better sign that sucker after next year.
There you go, man.
So you're going to have to pay him. So, we can't just get carried away saying, pay this guy. Yes, you can keep on kicking it down the can, kicking the can down the street, but eventually it comes to bite you. Look, the Rams won the Super Bowl with that philosophy, but then they fell on hard times after. Like you said, if I knew we could win one Super Bowl, I could take 5 hard years again. Standing on my time is what old ex-cons. I could do 5 years standing on my head. So I could do 5 years of Dolphins being in purgatory again for 5 years after 20 years of no playoff win. But with that said, it's just the reality is that we are up against the cap.
Yeah.
Barry Jackson, who's very good at following the salary cap number, he's brought up a couple of things. We can cut Ogbah next year and find a trade partner for an Xavier Howard, and that would free up over $30 million just in those two. But I mean, that's a big. He even said he doesn't think Ogbah. He said there's a possibility of being cut next year because it's not this year. No, because the penalty's too big leaving him this year. But next year it's cheaper to walk away from him. But like Howard, if a team took him off, you could walk away with basically nothing with him if you find a trade partner for Xavier Howard. But
well,
again, first you're taking another good player off the team.
Yeah, well, you never look. First, I was going to say we got to see how Cam Smith pans out. I think Cam Smith, if from what I've seen in practice and what I've seen in practice, because he hasn't played any of the preseason games, right? He was hurt, I think.
Who? Cam Smith?
Cam Smith, right?
Yeah, he played in that first game and he got.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. He did play it. That's right. I remember that. Well, from what I've seen in the joint practices and in the 12, 13 practices we've had thus far, I think he's going to be Howard's replacement. That's my. You can get off Howard. We should have got off Howard, 2 years ago. But Igbo didn't pan out.
Howard will step up and have a good year this year, though. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
If he does have a good this year, maybe make flipping him next year. Because at some point, you're going to have to weigh the scales and see where you want to spend the money and whatever. Because I know people say, oh, the salary cap's fake. It's not fake. It's flexible, maybe. You can flex it so much, but eventually. I mean, I know, as much as people don't like Stephen Ross, we're lucky to have Stephen Ross because a lot of owners would be telling their general managers, what? You want me to rework a contract? Because, last year they reworked Tyreek contract, gave him more signing bonus after 1 year, after already giving him tons of money. And, a lot of owners would be like telling their general manager to go pound sand to make the best of it. He redid the contract again, Steve. And, so I know a lot of us don't like Ross. I like Ross. Okay. I'm mad at he did we got nailed with tampering and I guess we were so blatant. And then, Flores ratted us out about it on top of it all, and then that's it. So yeah, he cost us those picks, which was a blow. But outside of that, the man will pay. I mean, like I said, the difference like in baseball, and since a luxury tax, him and Jerry Jones would be fighting each other for all the best players in football every day. I mean, both of those owners would just go nuts spending. So.
Yeah. Hey, folks, everybody that's in chat, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Please hit that like button. I appreciate it. We're almost to 1,000. If you could help us out and get there, it'd be great, man. It'd be a really good goal for us to hit. So if you could do that for us, I appreciate it. I wanted to answer a question here or a comment by Anthony. I'm sorry, I'm bad at last names. I can't pronounce his last name, so I'm just going to call him Anthony. He said, passed on Cook because the coaches feel it is not a need. Some may be for JT, right or wrong. Seems like that is the plan. Well, yes, I agree with you on the comment about. I think Mike McDaniel was pretty happy and with the running back room that he had. They had good chemistry together, but. We're not talking about an 8th or 9th or 10th, running back in this league, ranked running back in this league. We're not talking about a 28-year-old going on 29. Somebody's got a lot of wear and tear on their body. And not to mention the issues that he's had in the offseason. And I made a point of that, and I'm not going to get back into that, but I did make a point of that a few shows back, why I didn't want him. But how can you pass up a top 3 running back, like a guy like a Jonathan Taylor, who can catch balls, he can block, he's fast, he's a power runner, he's an all-around runner, man, and he's young. He's only 24 years old. 24. That's the difference. That's the difference between him and Cook. But anyway, let's go on. Let's move on, Rob. Let's talk a little bit to your comment about the offensive line. You mentioned Jalen Phillips, and I know this has nothing to do with the offensive line, but I'm making a point. Austin Jackson. Now take this for what it's worth. Austin Jackson has been doing a pretty good job against Jalen Phillips in the joint practices. He's been holding the fort
in the inner squad practices.
in the inter squad practices. Yes,
Right.
he has been holding the fort pretty good with Austin Jackson.
Yeah.
Now, the good news is Kendall Lamb, who I think is our swing tackle, but I think, and the reason why I say this is because Kendall Lamb requested to play right tackle.
Yeah, I saw that.
He wanted to play
He's
right
been
tackle.
asking,
He's
but they
been
don't listen.
asking. He's been
Right.
asking. And I'm afraid if Kendall, not afraid, I mean, I think it's a good thing. If Kendall Lamb, I know he's a lot better. He's better than any left tackle that's been in competition with him right now. He's leading all left tackles or whoever's been fighting for that left tackle spot. He's been
Behind
beating them out.
Armstead. Right.
So if he can play right tackle the way that he plays left tackle, he might beat out Austin Jackson, and we could keep Austin Jackson as a backup, which I think he would be a good depth player. And if Armstead goes down, which I know, Scotty, you don't like to hear this, but if Armstead goes down, which I think he will at some point in a year, you move Kendall Lamb over to left tackle, and you bring back Austin Jackson to play that right tackle spot, and case closed, problem solved. So
Yep.
I think I would love to see Kendall Lamb play right tackle just to see.
I like what I've seen him so far.
Yeah,
And
me too.
guys,
He's a veteran.
Check out the Bearded Fanatics channel. I think I don't want to say it, but I think he's having OJ McDuffie on tonight. If I'm wrong, Bearded Fanatic, correct me. But I think he actually has OJ McDuffie coming on to his channel tonight. Make sure you check.
Hey,
out.
thanks for joining us tonight, Bearded Fanatic. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. You're doing a great job over there at your network. Appreciate you stopping by tonight.
Yeah.
If you don't know, please, everyone, go ahead and check out Bearded Fanatic. They got a great show.
They are going to have OJ McDuffie tonight.
Okay. All right.
So what
good.
time did your show start on Bearded Fanatic? I think it's, I don't want to say. I think it's 9, but I don't want to say it again because I'm not sure. My mind's not as sharp as it used to be. I can't remember. I just remember saying, "Oh, OJ McDuffie's on his show. That's cool." Yeah. But anyway, so that'd be cool.
He's on there with Daniel. Daniel's a New York Jets fan, so they kind of go at it a little bit in all good fun, of course. But I enjoy watching their show.
Thirsty that I get to borrow Daniel maybe a couple because I'm gonna be looking.
And that reminds me, Rob,
for fans of other teams each week. Like when we play the Chargers, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to start scouting out Chargers podcast and YouTube channels and see if one of their guests would come out during the week on my show.
So Bearded Fanatics says it's on at 9 p.m. You want to bring that up there, Rob? Yeah, 9 p.m. on the Battered Fins Fans channel. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. The good show. I catch it from time to time. I go over there and watch the replay. And
I'm gonna watch the replay.
Him and Daniel,
right after
they're great. They're great. They're great. You go ahead and watch.
I make sure I go give them a thumbs up, meaning thumbs up. I already subscribed,
Rob,
so I can't
do
that again.
Rob, please tell everybody what you got going on at DolphinThirsty.com.
DolphinThirsty.com is my website. I'm basically the writer, the editor, the owner, everything. It's all for fun. You won't see advertisements. I try to update it as much as I possible, but like I say, hard to catch your own errors, so you may catch some grammar, but for the most part, Dolphin fans aren't the grammar police. They've been very inviting, telling me my site's good stuff. So it's a lot of fun. And, I try to make it grow, but it's tough when you're a one-man show and you're still the family guy, even though I just retired from my career, as you know. So I have a little more time, but still I got one kid in high school, the other one up at UF, and, a lot of things to do around here. But so it's hard to be the one-man editor, but thank you so much. I try to bring everything Dolphins. Bobby, every so often of this network, writes for it. Nando, who's on here also, he's the one with the foil hat sometimes. He says he would like to write some content for me this year. And then another kid just reached out to me. I say kid because he's at Kent State University. I forget what his Twitter is something, but he reached out to me and asked if he could I told him, well, hey, I can't pay you, but if you want a resume, the one kid from Kent State, he was on to just build a resume. I said, oh, I'll put you on my staff and say you're a great writer. So he says he's going to write for me this year when the regular season kicks in. So hopefully, guys, maybe you see a little more content when it's just not me trying to learn YouTube, trying to learn Facebook, trying to learn all this stuff I never dealt with during my 20 years and totally different kind of career. So but it's a lot of fun. So thank you, Steve. I love it. No problem, Bearden, man. We're a Dolphin community, man. We're all in it together.
Absolutely.
I know a lot of people are saying, oh, there's too many Dolphin shows. To me, I don't care. I love all of them. I just do it for fun anyway. I love seeing all the Dolphin shows, just talking Dolphins football with people, and it's all good stuff. So I cannot complain. How about you,
Thank
Steve?
you, Rob.
You're a big fan of a lot of shows, so I know you agree.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Rob. Scotty made a good comment. He said Lamb and Smith have shown excellent technique. They have a strong base, and that's true. I have seen Keon Smith, and yes, I like Keon Smith too. And those two are going to be some good depth pieces on the O-line, and hopefully they pan out and they play well, just like they did in the preseason games, in the regular season. So hopefully we won't have to use them.
Also on the offensive line, I hope Cotton and Robert Jones are okay. They were saying that Cotton could have played in his last game, but they didn't want to put him out there. So I don't know. He might be on, who knows? But they didn't want to put him out there where he's not 100% and not put good stuff on film. So that almost like, oh, he's probably going to get cut, but we don't want another team to see him, or they kind of try to hide him and hopefully stick him on the practice squad. So I was like, I read that comment. I'm like, what does that mean? Are they trying to hide him, or do they really think that he may be cut and they didn't want him to play if he wasn't 100% and did he not look good on film to have a chance somewhere else? So that's what McDaniel said. He goes, oh, Cotton could have played, but he wasn't 100%, and we didn't want to put him out there on film, and where he's not at his best. So that's
interesting.
Interesting. So I thought that was interesting that he said that.
Yeah. So. But we got Dan Feeney has been he's been hurt a little bit. He's been banged up on the O-line. I'm not a big Feeney fan, although he's probably, well, I don't know. It might be it's between him and Eichenberg as far as backup center goes, I think, because Eichenberg has been playing some center. And then, of course, Feeney. I'm not a big Feeney fan. Of course, I'm not a big Eichenberg fan. But Eichenberg was back practicing today. Ingold was back. He was back playing today as well. Jalen Waddle was out there going through some drills and stuff. Who else did we have that I thought? Oh, Salbert, the tight end. No big loss there. But he's injured as well. Of course, A-Chain. A-Chain got injured with the shoulder injury.
Right, week to week.
Week to week with him, but in my humble opinion, because it's a shoulder injury and he is a running back, it takes a lot of hits and he's got to hold the ball. I don't think he's going to be back. If they're smart, they're not going to bring him back for at least another 3-4 weeks. That's just my opinion, but they know more better than I do.
They got this week, and then they got 2 weeks off before the regular season.
So he might be ready. So he might be ready in that fourth week.
And if not, maybe game 2, who knows? But at least it's not as serious as it could have been. So
that's one thing. And what I've seen out of A-Chain, I've liked as well.
I like A-Chain. He brings another element.
Oh, absolutely, he does. He's not an every down back. I don't see him as an every down back. I see him as a role player in this team and a good receiver.
There's very few every down back. I know you're Jonathan Taylor. We won't go back there. But there's very few all down backs in this day and age. It's not that bell cow that there used to be, that just, I guess you got Derrick Henry, but outside of that, there's not many bell cow backs.
You got Jonathan Taylor.
I know. I was going to say, going back to him, I knew you were going to say that once I started opening my mouth.
You go. But so in other news, which to me, it's concerning. And I didn't even know about this until after the fact. Mike White is in concussion protocol. Now we've got a second string quarterback in concussion protocol, and Skylar Thompson at the game. I did know this, and he did get up and looked like he got his bell rung. He got up. Spotters, saw when he got up, and immediately they took him to the tent.
Right.
and to
That's why
check
Mike
out.
White came in for a couple minutes.
Yeah, but then Mike White got a concussion, and they had to bring Skylar Thompson back. Thank God that Skylar Thompson was okay. And guess we would have had Tua coming back in
they
because they would have
re-signed
both been on
Blackman.
protocol.
They re-signed Blackman. I don't know if he's going to get
No. I mean a Texans game. In the Texans game
this week coming up, since Mike White, I wonder if he's going to get any playing time. Blackman, he might. Hey, that's good for the.
No. He's not going to
so?
get any playing time. No, they're gonna have Skylar and Blackman go at it. I think Blackman's going to play.
I just said Blackman get playing time, and then you said no, and now you're saying Blackman still.
No, I said he would. No, I said he did. I said no. You're not going to see Mike White. Did you say Blackman or Mike White?
White's not going to. I said Blackman is.
Oh, Blackman. Yeah. He'll probably see. You're going to see him with a lot of. You're going to see a lot of playing time out of Blackman, I'm sure. Maybe even a half. You know, Skylar and him would do a half each. But it's going to be interesting. We're about getting ready out of time here, so. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to this game this week. This is the last one, thank God. And then the cuts are going to happen. I'm always, watching out for the cuts and all that. I enjoy that and seeing who they're going to cut and predicting who they're going to cut, who they're not, and seeing if I'm right or wrong. Just play a little game with myself like that. But, these guys this week are going to be playing their hearts out. They're going to be, playing for roles on this team. And watch out for Garrett Nelson. I really like the guy. He's a decent linebacker for this team, or edge rusher for the Miami Dolphins. But the guy's a gunner on those special teams, man. If he's going to make the team, this would be a good time for him to show out as this week on the special teams, because we definitely need some special teams players. John Bethel is hurt. We don't know when he's coming back. He was a good special teams player for us last year. So, but anyway, it should be fun, and I'm ready for football, Rob.
Yeah, I'm ready too, man. September 10th is coming around the corner now, and it's when it starts to build. This week, I hate to say it, let's just try to stay healthy. Let's try and, that's the main goal in this game. No more banged ups. We've had a lot of guys. Someone's always going to get nicked and bruised during a game, unfortunately. But let's try to let's just hope the Dolphins keep it to a minimum. We've already been nailed with injuries. Let's just hope we can get through this one, heal up until September 10th, and be ready to rock and roll and have some real football. It's going to be nice to see.
Yes, Scotty. Perry Nickerson has been playing very well too. Yeah, he might be making this roster, but we'll see. All right, guys. Yeah. We're going to call it a night. I appreciate you for joining. On your way out, please hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Share this with your friends, your families, your neighbors. So, Rob, let's just call it a night, and everybody have a good week. And remember, Dolphins number one, baby.
Dolphins number one.
Fins up.